Hey, what's going on, gamers? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at and trying to answer a simple question. Why is Sona being played in competitive? If you guys have been following the European competitive scene and some games in Southeast Asia, you may have noticed the recent appearance of Sona in a lot of the games, especially being played by teams such as Game Lord. I mean, even my team Tribe has showed it a few times now. It's definitely ramping up a little bit, and maybe some of you are curious as to why this champion suddenly seeing play. So today we're going to be analyzing a game that my team played against Game Lord. This was in the Team Liquid qualifier for the Summer Showdown, the European qualifier. This was like the winners finals or something for the qualifier. We ended up losing this set 0-2, but this is game one of that best of three. And in this game, you can clearly see the show from Game Lord is playing Sona. So we'll be watching his gameplay in this game, trying to look at some of the things he's doing and some of the reasons why this might be getting picked, and just seeing how this champion kind of like affects the game and what is it that's strong about it that's kind of bringing it into the forefront of the meta recently. So let's just get right into it and see how it goes. So here we are in the game getting started. Like I said, we do see show on that Sona. This is going to be the focus of this review. He has taken Font of Life, his keystone in this game. He has Flash Heal. Actually, Quantum's playing the Orianna here. So the first thing you'll notice is that they have a Yasuo in the mid lane, obviously an AD champion. And they're actually running an AP carry in the bot lane. Now, traditionally, Seraphine is the go-to pick for this kind of composition, but we actually took the Seraphine in draft this game, so they backed off to the Orianna. Orianna's, works perfectly well with their comp, gives another knock-up for Yasuo if she's able to land a solid shockwave. Just generally kind of plays to this lane phase style that we'll kind of see. Now, what you'll notice about this game is that we've actually gone for like a Draven composition. Very aggressive bot lane, but you'll kind of see the power of this poke Sona. And I think one of the main reasons for, going for it is when you see this opening of the enemy having like a Braum or a Galio, or one of these like super defensive melee supports, you'll see in this lane phase, it's like pretty hard for Braum to stand up a lot of the time. Obviously with the Draven it's a little bit easier, but they actually have quite a lot of lane control with this kind of like double poke bot lane. But like I said, the Draven does kind of change this matchup a bit, does make it a little bit less impactful, but a lot of the times it's very easy to pull priority with this sort of lane phase. Like you have Sona plus, Seraphine, Sona plus Orianna. That's so much poke coming out, plus the sustain from Sona, that it's hard for a lot of bot lanes to kind of deal with that strategy. You see, just kind of chilling at tower now. Wukong actually getting invaded, so they are going to start rotating up to try and get a counter invade here, but Wukong's already been forced out. This is kind of the power of playing. It's, Draven. Draven just naturally kind of like dominates these lanes, has priority. But Game Lord are going to hold this freeze here. Cannon actually didn't die, so you see Quantum start pushing out the wave because they already can't maintain the freeze anymore. I think if he hadn't autoed the wave like quite so much, the Cannon may have died and they could have held at the tower. But sadly the Cannon minion survived on 1 HP. So now they're like building a slow push. Draven actually got a recoil off here. It's actually pretty value for friend to be able to have the opportunity to actually just get a base and not miss anything. And it's kind of just because of like a wave control fail. Slight mistake coming out, I guess. But you'll see here, like, once they have them under the tower, it's so easy for them to start, applying this poke pressure. Just spamming the first ability of Sona, spamming the Orianna combo. Really just trying to lock them down. Ward comes out with the tri-brush. Like, Braum is walking up to try and hold space, but, you see all this damage is just getting healed off. Like, it's very hard for them to be able to hard engage kind of onto this bot lane with something like the Braum. I think the Galio is a bit of an easier time. And something like Leona, for example, may have the opportunity to kind of punish this kind of duo. But the thing about Sona as well is while she has like pretty good matchups into these melee, she's also really good into a lot of the range supports as well. Like Janna, she kind of like wins against Janna because they can be trading poke, but Sona has the natural sustain. Kind of the same way that Nami sort of wins against Janna. It's mainly due to the fact that Nami is poking, but also has access to like a healing ability. See, also getting low here. Draven barely misses. He's gonna get out there. A little bit of a roam. Make sure his teammate gets out. 400 gold in favor of Tribe. Lee Sin waiting behind the tower here. A little bit scared, but they do have level 5. It's a bit of a hard dive. Obviously, once Sona has access to that ultimate, it's a great ultimate. Like, Sona has an excellent ult for team fighting. Especially in this kind of composition. Like, if you look through Game Mode's composition, you really see what they're trying to build here. They've got the Gragas, the Wukong Yasuo combo. First one actually goes to tribe. The Wukong Yasuo combo, and then they have like the Sona and Orianna ult, and they have so many ways to like start a fight, and as soon as they get that start, they have so much AoE overlap, like it's so easy for them to just keep locking down the same targets that they get initially. Fighting for the bot grab here, Dragon is up. Now this is a big thing about Sona competitions, is the first Dragon. You actually see the Lee Sin show top, and they've just dove Gragas. This is because the Sona compositions are so strong at this first trait immediately. Because the champion naturally wants to be in these like 5v5 fights, healing and buffing all of its allies. And when you have this kind of setup with, you know, like I said, they have all these AoE ultimates that kind of overlap. It's very, very difficult to like force a fight and kill the Sona. And if you can't kill the Sona and like the Orianna or the Seraphine and kill them cleanly, you're just going to get overrun by the sustain and kind of like the counter engage that they have. So you see already a 3k gold lead actually in favor of Tribe here. Pretty solid early game. I don't think Draven's actually picked up a kill yet. So that's kind of unfortunate. We see Show's actually gone for the Sapphire Crystal here. Traditionally the build is Archangel Rush, I think, honestly. You're kind of playing Sona as like the secondary carry. Obviously in PC League of Legends, it's a bit weird because you don't want to build the support items, get your gold income going. But due to the nature of Wild Rift, the shared minion gold, it's a little bit easier to kind of build Sona as like this secondary carry, get the Archangel online, get a lot of AP, and then use that to start like having another scaling champion in your team. Like one of the things about these Sona drafts is their scaling is so crazy. A lot of the games feel very set in stone to the point of if you lose a fight against the Sona draft, you're just never gonna win a fight ever again, because once they get that advantage and they're kind of like able to like push ahead and start outscaling you, it's just impossible to catch up. See Leon here going in. Doom's also here as well, but great trap from Zephyr and the brush. Knock up on Lee. Sona ult on Lee. Orianna ult on Lee. They don't quite have the damage. Bit of a messy engage. Part of this is due to the fact that the bot lane hadn't based for a while. You see Orianna hadn't even finished his Archangel yet. Sona hadn't recalled at all. Sona picks up the tier. And Redemption, CDR boots. Orianna with Archangel CDR boots now, but yeah, the bot lane hadn't recalled. That was actually Show's first recall of the game at 6 minutes, so that's probably why they didn't pick up those the kills there. I think if they'd had a little bit more damage, there's definitely an option, potential. Grouping in the mid lane a bit here. Just wandering around, you know. I mean, that's the thing about this comp is like, I keep mentioning scaling, right? If you're not familiar with the concept of scaling, it's basically which team gets stronger throughout the game, or which champions get stronger throughout the game. Coming down to like, you know, well, how do they benefit from items? How do they benefit from levels? You know, when they have rank 2, rank 3 of their ultimate, how does that change the game? And the thing about these Sona comps is their team fight scaling, just because of the way they're composed, you know, having a lot of, you know, melee champions that benefit a lot from getting tank items, benefit a lot from getting, you know, second, third item, and then having this like Sona plus Seraphine, Sona plus Orianna, you know, I think they ran it with Seraphine and Nami as well, like not running the Sona, but having like this like multiple support slash like utility setup coming from your bot lane. When the items start to come online, the sustain just gets insane. It just becomes super hard to ever teamfight them. And like I said, because the game becomes so much about teamfighting at a certain point, you can play split push and wild, don't get me wrong, but you know, it'll just reach a point where you'll see these kind of comps just start running at Baron and forcing it, running at Dragons and forcing it, and they force the enemy to respond. And if you respond wrong, or you respond, you know, if you mess up your engage a little bit, you'll just see that these Sona comps just take over the fight. They just start out sustaining like mad. So much utility, so much being provided from this kind of champion, that it just kind of warps the team fight almost immediately as soon as the engage is over, if the enemy team does not manage to like secure a kill. So second Dragon's coming up in 20 seconds. This is probably going to be like, I mean, I know, but you know, this is kind of like the focus point for this kind of composition. I mentioned earlier about how all the Dragons are very important, or like just being able to run objectives and force them is very important for this style of comp. You see there's a 4,000 gold lead in favor of Tribe here. So they definitely have like built a solid early game, which is where this kind of composition is at its weakest. But this is kind of like the almost the do or die moment of Game Lord. If they do not manage to win this dragon, and they don't manage to like succeed in this fight, you know, they're gonna struggle a lot because they'll be so far behind in stats. When Wu actually blocks Seraphine out there, at least it goes in for the steal, does not get it. You see they overlap so much, but look at the health bars of Game Lord. Like, a lot of damage is being thrown in from Tribe, but they're just not even getting low. Like, the only person getting a little bit low now is Gragas. I mean, you can argue this is a bit of a messy fight. Lee Sin goes in for the steal, ends up dying. They do manage to clean up a triple kill on the back end. But you see the gold swing immediately halved. Like, they've already picked up 2,000 gold just from this fight alone. And at this point, you know, I mentioned that if you lose a fight, it becomes really hard. And you're just going to start to see, like, the power of kind of, like, this Sona draft when it starts to get a gold advantage. Like, so far, you know, it's a little bit spooky because, you know, got some squishy characters on the team like the Sona. If they do end up getting sniped, it could be really hard. But you see the mistake here from Tribe ending up losing this fight. And you'll kind of end up seeing the ramifications of it, I think, throughout the rest of the game. Let's take a look at what he's building. So yeah, so he is going for that Archangel. I did mention go for the Archangel Seraph. Sona, obviously a very mana reliant champion. Requires a lot of mana sustain due to the nature of her abilities, spamming all the auras, spamming all the actives. You want to be basically just mashing buttons as often as possible. Also, she charges tier really effectively, obviously, for the same reason. So, natural synergy with the kit. I think he probably will just pick it up now. Yep, finish the Archangel. Hasn't got the Seraph yet, obviously, because he has to wait till he's fully upgraded it before he can finish the mana charge. They actually get a pick on Camille here. They find Lee Sin with a ward waiting. Yasuo's been pushing bot lane. But, oh, I think actually maybe Yasuo got the 1v1 kill on Camille. You see, they're just trying to set up Baron vision here, you know? I mean, I mentioned, you know, they really want to just try and force. They get the engage on Lee Sin, pick him off. Sona ult goes a bit wide. Braum ult for the disengage. And they're not going to be able to chase here. And they are just going to pull the Nash. Like, and you'll kind of see here, like, traditionally you'll take a lot of damage doing Baron. But that's just, again, one of the other things about this Sona is when you're in this kind of position, look how little damage all the front line are taking. Good Seraphine ult comes through, catches the back line, but there's no follow-up damage. They get the engage onto Braum and bring him down. And at this point, you know, they're just running down the enemy team. And there's no counter damage, you know? The Sona's keeping everybody at full HP. It's just this big melee fiesta, like just running at them, you know? And like this is what I was talking about, where they just run at Baron and they just pull it. And unlike a traditional composition where you might be kind of suffering from a lot of the Baron damage, you might be scared of having the debuff, you know, to your resistances when the enemy team comes. And they're just all full HP, you know? They've just got all these tanky champions that are benefiting so much from this healing and these like this additional sustain, you know? When you're building a lot of like resistances, you have just you get even more value out of having healing, right? If you're healing someone who has like 100 armor for 200 HP, that's like infinitely more valuable against physical damage than healing someone with 10 armor for 200 HP, you know what I mean? Another synergy is you notice that Wukong and Gragas both have the stone plate enchant. Same principle, you know? You pop stone plate, suddenly you're sitting there basically unkillable, and you can just get heals, and the heals start out healing the damage even more. Because you have these insane resists, you have the stone plate bonus, you know, you have the healing coming out from Sona, you have redemption coming out from Sona. Like, at this point, it's just so impossible to take teamfights against this kind of draft. Once they have this advantage. Actually gone for another lost chapter here. I'm trying to think what I would build into. Maybe he's just going like Ludens. I'm not really sure what he would be building exactly. Yasuo looking for an engage, but not gonna find it. They have the Baron buff. Camille's going in. Lands the ult on Gragas. Seraphine ult comes through on 3. Braum's just getting blown up though. Like, it's not tanky at all. And just look at the health bars, you know? Like, Sona's taking some damage now, but none of these melee champions are getting low at all. You know, the Sona heal just keeps being dropped. Every time it's, you know, 200 healing on everybody. They're diving the Nexus, no fear. And you see how quickly this game snowballed from that second dragon. This is what I mean with like kind of the strength of this kind of composition, is once they get an advantage, the game just becomes so hard. You know, they're sitting here with so much sustain. They craft these compositions very intelligently. They specifically, you know, they draft these tankier champions. Dude, I left my score on the screen again. God damn it. they draft these tankier champions, you know, trying to fully abuse this Sona. They build the Stoneplate enchant. You know, they have these AP focused bot lanes a lot of the time. They have these very high take advantage of Sona's poke and sustain and give it these very dominant bot lanes to try and reach that scaling point. And, you know, once they hit that break point, that's just it. You know, the Sona composition takes over the game. And it's just so hard to team fight against it. And the other thing is just a lot of compositions can't scale to this level. You know, there's not many things you can pick that can match this level of scaling. Especially when you have things like the Yasuo. Obviously a great scaling champion, and when he has all this safety of having the Sona kind of in his back pocket, the champ just becomes a total menace. So yeah, I hope this helped you kind of understand and answer the question of why is Sona getting picked in competitive? What makes Sona so interesting? How does she function? And why is she a part of the meta? So yeah, I think we've gone over a few of the reasons and kind of watched the game and seen how it works. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Really helps out the channel. And yeah, I hope to see you guys again in the next video. Hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.